I feel that a lot of people solely aren't aware of which of those two they do. So do you respond or do you react a lot of the time? Your circle of control is how you react or respond to something, right? I feel that a lot of people solely aren't aware of which of those two they do. So do you respond or do you react a lot of the time? Because first and foremost, you are in charge of yourself, your health, and your well-being, right? Then it leads into the expectations or agreements that you have set by yourself or others. The more relaxed your agreements are, the more overwhelmed and emotional it is to become. So also understanding, okay, here I am, I have myself, I have my health and my well-being. Now I get to choose to teach people how to love, honor, and respect me, whether it's my family, my partner, or my work colleagues. So that's what I can control. And then the next thing I can control is how I respond. It's not about reacting, but how can I respond? Which I'm always constantly checking in with the 4 agreements, right? Be impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. Don't take anything personally, and always do your best. Permission to feel came from looking and learning about Mark Brackett and his ruler method. He is a doctor that works at Yale, and he's all about creating emotional intelligence programming for children. And the reason permission to feel is so important is because expressing how we feel is not something that's natural. Our minds make up stories, and we have these regulation strategies that allow us to be logical, polite, and keep things very simple and surface level, because that's what we're taught to do. Be polite, be kind, don't make a scene. But a regulation strategy is like, if I'm super anxious about the pandemic, right? And I'm feeling anxiety and someone asks me how I feel, a regulation strategy would be, I'm anxious, but also grateful. Like, I need to be grateful because it could be way worse. That's a regulation strategy of trying to tell you how I feel, but dismissing it with something different because I have a macro emotion, which is a judgment about your original judgment, that is making it seem, it's just dismissing how we actually really feel. And we do this all the time. You also have the bullshitting strategy of, I'm fine, I'm good. And we do that because we don't have time for each other. If you asked me how I was and I said hopeless, lonely, depressed, you're not gonna, who has time to then stop in their tracks in the hall or on your way to work in the morning and really deal with that level or that extreme of emotion? So it's important to understand that that's how we are naturally operated. And then understanding that we have 5 main areas where emotional intelligence impacts us. And when we don't give ourselves permission to feel, we're not aware of how it's actually going to be impacting us. So your attention capacity, your decision-making, your relationships, your physical and mental health, and your performance and clarity. These are all really heavily impacted by your level and commitment and ability to feel your emotions. Not to mention that a study just proved that 2/3 of the US nation's youth don't feel that they have a supportive adult in their school. And half of that population doesn't feel that they have one at home either. So that means that like 2/3 or half of the 2/3 of children in today's society don't feel like they can even communicate how they feel to people, because we're in such a fast-paced, socially distracted world, to where even when we do feel something, we mask it with the regulation strategy to take it away and to mask what we are trying to unmask. It's messed up. Improving your emotional vocabulary, the tangible things that you can be doing is keep a feelings journal. One of the things I do is I have a gratitude journal, and at the end of the day, I will write down like the emotion I felt the majority of the day, just as a reminder of me to like check in with not what are you doing, but who are you being and how do you feel? Another thing I love is Mark Brackett's ruler method. So recognize, understand, label, express, and regulate. So knowing your trigger words is also very helpful. And based off of you, when you ask how to like communicate them differently, when we're aware of our trigger words and we have an understanding as to why, it allows us to manage our emotions, but be able to articulate and communicate more effectively. But just for being able to become more familiar, emotions wheels are super helpful to have like hanging or on your computer if you don't know like primary and secondary emotions of the basic 8. And then some people, when they're wanting to advance in a career, they'll take it as far as, if they don't understand or know, they'll have someone they know and trust at home role play out so that they can become familiar of like, what did it look like and see like, and how did you interpret it? But when it comes to communication, there's also an understanding, are you a masculine energy or a feminine energy? And do you speak in feminine or masculine? Do you listen in masculine or feminine? I listen in the feminine, but I speak in the masculine. So that can come across as very harsh and too direct at times. So for me personally, I'm always trying to be aware and communicate, this is my intent. What is the impact it's having on you? Because we always want to know the impact our emotions are having on someone, so that we can become aware of how we are creating that, or maybe how to express ourselves differently so it's not taken in such a negative or hurtful form.